Okay, so welcome back to Switch Corner. Today we're going to be taking a look at Arrest of a Stone Buddha on the Nintendo Switch. This one, it's combining stylized like John Wick gunplay with the mundane tasks of just everyday life as you await that next moment of action. Can this one though deliver in both parts, make a statement while including high octane action, or is this just simply a partnership that never quite works out? While I'll say this much about it, it clearly wants to be art. Always a bold move with a video game, so yeah, hit subscribe if you love the Switch as much as we all do here, quickly approaching 5,000 subscribers, and let's just get into this one. So story and Arrest of a Stone Buddha absolutely kicks off with a bang, setting the tone for the experience ahead of you. Opening the game, it introduces 1970s Paris, and you will find yourself inside a church. Now, moments later, you take a gun to your mark's head, who's here actually praying, and boom. Job complete. Moments later though, tons of enemies approach and it's time to, get out of here. It's an opening with no explanation at all, but one that just hooked me immediately. It isn't a story of why you did this or, who they were. You're a hitman. This is purely for financial gain, and that is quickly made apparent, a gun for hire, and it's just the first of many marks you're gonna be killing. Here, instead, those stories actually sandwich between these action-intensive moments. It's the mundane pieces of everyday life as you try to waste the hours away. Interact with the world, visit your partner, go to the bar, go to the cinema, just take a stroll. Fill up a day clearly overshadowed by what I would say is loneliness. There's very little in the way of dialogue here though, as this character study pushes forward, and I will say that's perhaps intentional, simply a reflection of, one lonely soul, and that's it. But I gotta be honest, it all kind of fell a little flat for me, sadly, and the important question it touts on the eShop description, it never really came to any sort of satisfying conclusion. Perhaps so, that's all the point, and it just wasn't for me personally. It just misses the mark in my opinion. It didn't really capture the style I think it was intending to go for, and that's really disappointing when you factor in this comes from Yao, the creator of indie gem The Friends of Ringo Ishikawa. So gameplay then, and the idea is simple. Each stage starts with you killing your mark, meaning the gameplay here, it's to escape after the kill, not go after the target themselves. Basically expect a brief intro as you kill your mark, and then it's basically go time. Expect waves of enemies coming at you from the left and right hand side of the screen, and the kill count will get absolutely insane. Controls couldn't be simpler. Walk, aim your gun with the right trigger and press A to shoot. If you push up at the same time as firing, you'll fire faster. And then if you push down, you'll duck, which essentially aims at any enemy in the direction you're facing that has a gun squarely on you. This bit, I gotta say, it's a core mechanic when it comes to finding success and surviving, and making sure you take down the more threatening foes first of all. With Arrest of a Stone Buddha 2 then though, don't expect to be taking cover, applying armor, or even reloading. The only thing you can literally do is walk, shoot, and then use the B button to take a gun away from an enemy, either simply by disarming them or breaking their arms entirely in the process. This, I'd basically look at it as your reload. You'll need to balance taking, out enemies that are shooting from afar, while then using melee attacks to ensure you always have a loaded weapon at your disposal. I gotta say as well, there's some seriously entertaining weaponry in here too. My favourite, the mighty shotgun. There's no doubt here the concept, it makes you feel like a badass, but what starts as absolutely entertaining quickly turns to frustration because of some seriously weird design decisions. First off, I gotta say your speed couldn't be slower. Your enemies, they can all run. You walk at like this snail's pace, meaning run out of bullets and it's game over nearly guaranteed, because, well, most of the time you have no chance of reaching the enemy that's maybe a couple of feet away from you and stealing their weapon, because they're basically gonna shoot you in the face. Now, I don't know about you, but something tells me walking slowly into a gun isn't typically the go-to approach for escaping a bad situation in the, killing for beginners hitman guidebook. The biggest problem though, you don't even get a health bar here. Perhaps this is for realism, and that does make sense, but I'll tell you one thing, it doesn't work. The problem is the game gives you no idea to what is hitting or hurting you. Maybe these enemies are terrible aims and just continue to miss me, and I actually only die after one bullet hits me. Maybe though I'm also a bullet sponge. I literally have no idea it never told me. That's what this game needs, it needs some explanation. Because of this though, what could absolutely be a fair reason for my death just felt entirely random and almost luck based. I had no idea it was ever coming, and that just led to frustration. I just wanted to throw my controller at the nearest wall a lot of the time. There's also this weird problem as well, I gotta say, with a few levels where staircases get involved. My shooting angle with my character, you can see here, never changes, yet those on the top and the bottom are dying, so the game's clearly connecting with them somehow. It looks weird, it feels weird, but it also means if I can hit them there, they can also hit me. It's not so bad in this section where it's just like, you know, one staircase, but how about this level where the entire thing is basically one long staircase of death with bullets that appear to fly around corners? Throw the idea of strategy out the window here, because it will be entirely random if you're shooting up, down, if you're ducking to shoot the one with a weapon. You really won't get any idea of actually what's happening. Between levels then, to top it off, you get the mundane moments, and that's a perfect way to put it. Wander the streets, enter a few locations, just waste that time away until the next day arrives. It is a really great place to explore, it's beautiful as well at first, but sadly after the second or third time you're largely just sitting there hoping it skips as quickly as possible. You know, you can only go to the pharmacy, clothes store, partner's apartment so many times, and again, maybe that's the point, it is supposed to be almost mundane, but there's actually not really anything to do at them. It feels very lifeless, very little in the way of interaction, and nothing that I would even call visually interesting to at least look at. Look, to wrap up gameplay, gunplay is unique, and while entertaining for, you know, a short while, it quickly deteriorates to frustrating thanks to the design decisions. And then the mundane moments, there's a message in here, but it's been handled far better elsewhere before, and yeah, just overall it's disappointing. It's definitely a challenging game as well. You're going to get probably plus 5 hours of gameplay out of it on a first playthrough. The problem is, even though it is difficult, it feels more difficult because of the lack of information it gives you, and that's never a good place to be. Graphically speaking, A Rest of a Stone Butter is absolutely stunning. As pixel art goes, it captures that retro, while very much bringing it into the modern age. You know, the tools we have access to now, they're very kind to this style, and these are some truly detailed designs. The environments for the action are stunning though, from the opening church location to a mansion to just city streets. Each not only like expansive though, but when you're moving forward through these waves of enemies, they're gonna be changing. Then our protagonist himself, while his design is, you know, largely generic, talk about some great animations for the gunplay, from the different poses with a single pistol to kneeling for accuracy to dual wielding, especially. That looks awesome. You'll be crossing arms, aiming both ways, pointing them squarely in the face of one individual. These animations just embody the attitude these moments are clearly trying to capture, and John Woo would be proud. My only visual gripe here, honestly, enemy design, it never really changes, just lots of dudes in suits charging at you, and it would have seriously benefited by a little bit more variety in this department. Outside of this though, I gotta say, stunning work. Audio then, and while it is repetitive, I gotta say the music is great, and yeah, I found myself humming along to this one a lot. It's basically like moments of chiptune interlaced with 70s piano, guitar and drums. It just embodies the setting perfectly, while also distinguishing between the moments of action and moments of calm to great effect. The sound effects then, while there's very few, it has a nice selection of weapon sounds, clips being emptied and bones being broken. That's really about it, but honestly, it's more than enough for the style of this one, and yeah, it's really good work. So overall, A Rest of a Stone Butter is largely a disappointing follow-up to the Friends of Ringo Ishikawa. While the concept, I will say, is a good one, the idea of, you know, gunplay interlaced then with storytelling and character study, it's just sadly lacking in both of the areas. The story moments, it's a world that's mostly empty, perhaps a reflection of the character themselves, but honestly, it's been handled and done much better elsewhere. Then the gunplay, while it's a lot of fun initially, it won't be long before it just becomes frustrating and just feels either very cheap or just like you have really no control over what happens to you if you're being hurt, when you die. It's just a lack of education from the game to the player, telling you specifically what you need to avoid and really how you take damage or anything else. That's a problem really for a game where that's the main idea of this. Today I'm awarding A Rest of a Stone Butter a below average 4 out of 10. It's not bad, I didn't want to quite go to 3, but it has a lot of problems. While the gameplay loop is addictive, the mundane moments are underdeveloped, the message is pretty much non-existent, the gunplay's underbaked, the price right now way too high, and then finally it's not the art piece it so wants to be. Let me know what you think of this one. I have no doubt the developer of this one is a genius, and this is simply a misfire, but I'm curious to see the divide this one creates, because I'm already confident it's going to be a love it or hate it experience. Thanks for watching today. Hit subscribe if you're new here and love the Switch as much as we all do, and we'll see you all on the next video. Thanks everyone.